Hello, my name is Niall Crabtree, I am a game designer, and this is Overanalyzing an opening. In this series, I choose an opening sequence from a video game and deep dive into every nook and cranny to decipher why it's so great, and how it manifested itself into the rest of the game. In this episode, I will be overanalyzing The Last of Us, developed by Naughty Dog. As we will be talking about how the opening sequence manifests itself and prepares the player for the rest of the game, let me quickly spout a synopsis of the game's premise and story to you. The Last of Us follows Joel and Ellie through a post-apocalyptic North America as Joel attempts to deliver Ellie to the Fireflies. The reason for this is that Ellie could hold the key to a cure for the disease which is causing people to turn into zombie-like infected. Throughout the story, Joel and Ellie grow and share a bond similar to that of a father and daughter, which leads to the ultimate conclusion, which we shall get on to at the end of this video. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's go.
Tommy, listen to me. He is the contractor. He's the contractor, okay? I can't lose this job. I understand. Let's talk about this in the morning, okay? We'll talk about it in the morning. All right, good night.
Hey.
Scoot.
Monday at work, huh?
What are you still doing up? It's late.
Oh, crud, what time is it?
It's way past your bedtime.
But it's still today.
Honey, please not right now. I do not have the energy for this.
Here,
What's this?
your birthday? You kept complaining about your broken watch. So I figured, you know. You like it?
Honey, it's
What?
nice, but I think it's stuck. It's not.
What? No. Oh, ha ha.
The first sign that Joel can hold it together under stress is when accepting the present from his daughter Sarah despite her being up late and having stolen the present itself, which illustrates that he can put fatherhood above his personal struggles. The stealing of the present that Sarah commits is the first and very on-the-nose comparison made between her and Ellie.
Good night, baby girl.
Hello?
Sarah, honey, I need to get your daddy on the phone.
Uncle Tommy, what time is it?
I need to talk to your dad now. There's something.
Uncle Tommy?
The call from Tommy, Joel's brother, is both the first sign of foreboding and an introduction to an important secondary character. You're not a fossil yet, being a referral to the impending 20-year time skip into the future. There are pictures on the wall which draw a loose comparison to Ellie, but they are mainly there to bolster the theme of togetherness and family which supports the sequence that is about to happen, as well as the entirety of Joel's motivation throughout the game. The first window on the left that is open introduces the idea of invasion into the homes and lives of the people. The first door you open is the wrong direction, but leads you to the newspaper and also teaches the player that not every door is going to progress the story, but could still be valuable to engage with. The newspaper on the side is the second sign of foreboding, but also gives an information dump to the player without taking the player out of the experience by keeping the hand of Sarah and her natural movements in frame. The player is informed that the infection has already started and is mold based, which is foreboding and explains the way the clickers look later in the game. The player is then guided by light into the next room along the hall, of which you are greeted by a disheveled bed, the next sign of foreboding as it looks like it was left in a hurry, and the fourth sign is just across the room, the newscast. However, what the newscast does even better than give the player just information is that it shows the player that both the incident they have just seen on the television along with the threat that it represents are nearby, as the explosion you have just seen on the TV is just outside the bedroom window. Also in the room there is a setup for both Joel's dreams to be a singer in the guitar, but also his superb fitness in the exercise machine. The player is then guided down the stairs by yet another light, and then the player sees yet another sign of foreboding when the police cars drive past the window. Of course, this also does the same job as the newscast in that it shows the player is quite close to the danger. Then the player is guided by light again from the outside window, and then to the blinking cell phone on the counter, which is also vibrating the controller, getting the player's attention another way.
Eight missed calls. Where the hell are you? Call me on my way.
The phone is almost definitely the most important and penultimate message of foreboding that the player receives in this opening sequence. Not only does it show that there is a danger in general from Tommy's messages, but it also shows that Tommy is on his way, and with him, the danger. The player is then guided by light to the study, but when the player walks past the window, they will see a disturbed tire swing which was previously hanging calmly. A great way to add one final notch to the tension gauge before the conflict ensues. Finally, once the player enters the study, they are confronted with the previously impending conflict, triggered by Sarah's father, Joel, returning from the outside. Previously, up until now, all the information that the player has been fed has shown that the danger is close, but still on the outside of the home.
I'm in here.
Don't go near the doors, just stand back there.
Dad, you're kind of freaking me out. What's going on?
It's the Coopers. Something ain't right with them. I think they're sick.
What kind of sick?
However, after Joel loads his gun, the door to the study is smashed through. That illusion is broken, and it is no accident that the next time the player is allowed to control the character again, it is when Joel is in charge. Once control is taken away, the first personal encounter with an infected both shows that Joel has what it takes to kill someone he knew to protect his family, but it also shows to the player that infected can be killed by a gun and bullets. So this scene does a great job for both character building and setting up one of the core gameplay loops in the game.
Where the hell you been? You have any idea what's going on out there?
I got some notion.
Holy shit. You got blood all over you.
It ain't mine. Let's just get out of here.
You're saying half the people in the city lost their minds.
Can we just please go?
Some sort of parasite or something.
You gonna tell me what happened?
Later.
Hey, Sarah. How you holding up, honey?
I'm fine. Can we hear us on the radio?
Yeah, sure thing.
Thanks.
More police followed by a car crash slowly increases the perceived threat level, but for now everything is relatively calm, which allows the player to think on the situation and allows for their mind to wander as they are being drip fed second-hand information from both Tommy and Joel in the front seat.
Alright.
Let's see what they need.
What do you think you're doing? Keep driving.
I got a kid, Joel.
So do we.
But we have room.
Keep driving, Tommy.
When Joel tells Tommy to keep driving, this is the first time that you truly see how selfish Joel can be to protect his family, which is incredibly important to set up the end of the game. This is further amplified when Sarah echoes a similar viewpoint to Ellie, "You should have helped them." Both the sound of the helicopter and the traffic permeate the scene at the same time to show how widespread and all-encompassing the situation is.
We could just backtracking.
What the fuck, man? Let's go!
Then the player is finally shown the end result of an encounter with an infected, the core conflict of the game. So with both the shooting scene and this scene, the player now knows what happens when you win against the infected and what happens when you lose. The car being hit is a perfect set piece to show the player that things can go wrong very quickly in this game, which is something that can be quite jarring if not properly prepared for. The second time that an infected is killed on the screen is with a brick, aka a melee weapon. Again to show to the player that this is both possible and also effective. Carrying Sarah is a mirror image of carrying Ellie at the end of the game, which both makes the ending more potent as it enables the player to remember what Joel lost originally, which can allow the player to potentially sympathize with him, but it also ties the story together in a bow quite nicely. As hysteria pursues, the player is guided by light to the petrol station, which is exploded, which in turn causes the light to dim. Then the player is guided to the theatre around the corner. As the player gets closer to the theatre, a burning car both blocks the path and guides the player's eyes from right to left, which leads them to the alleyway which is on their left. As your eyes are guided through the continuously winding alleyway, the player is introduced to their first QuickTime event, which comes at a shock due to the way their eyes were guided away from the attack which was on the bottom right. It also helps that the wall in the middle ground was bright green. Speaking of bright green, the umbrellas in the next part of the level are also bright green and guide the player's eyes to the large neon open sign above the door that they need to open. The player is then yet again guided by light, but also this time is moved in a certain way to avoid the enemy attack which is on their right, the gap in the wall. The gap in the wall is also important because the yellow tape next to it becomes a staple in the game's level design and an incredibly strong tool in the level designer's arsenal when it comes to guiding the player. Finally, the player is shown the ultimate character moment and defining moment in exploring who Joel is and what made him.
Hey, we need help.
Stop!
Please. It's my daughter. I think her leg is broken.
Stop right there!
Okay. We're not sick.
Got a couple of civilians on the outer perimeter. Please advise.
Daddy, what about Uncle Tommy?
We're gonna get you to safety and go back for him, okay?
Sir, there's a little girl. But... Yes, sir.
Somebody, we've just been through hell. Okay, we just need...
When confronted with the same situation at the end of the game, Joel makes sure he has a gun and makes double sure to use it first.
Please don't.
Oh no.
Sarah. Move your hands, baby. I know, baby, I know. God. Listen to me. I know this hurts, baby. You're gonna be okay, baby. Stay with me. All right, I'm gonna pick you up. I know, baby. I know it hurts. Come on, baby. Please. I know, baby. I know. Sarah. Baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Come on. No. No. No, no, no. Please. 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 Please don't. Please.
Thank you very much for watching this episode of Overanalyzing and Opening. If you enjoyed it, then please support the series by hitting the like goal on this video, which is 10 likes. If it reaches 10 likes before next Sunday, I will do a stream playing through The Last of Us 2 when I can, once it's released. Please check out my links in the description below, including a link to my website in which I have started a development blog on my latest board game. And that's about it. Thanks once more, and I shall see you in the next one.